Buddham gacchami sharanam yavada bodhimandataha dharmam gacchami sharanam bodhisattva ganam tatha Buddham gacchami sharanam yavada bodhimandataha dharmam gacchami sharanam bodhisattva ganam tatha Buddham gacchami sharanam yavada bodhimandataha dharmam gacchami sharanam bodhisattva ganam tatha. Until the essence of enlightenment is reached, I go for refuge to the Buddhas. I take refuge in the Dharma and in all the host of Bodhisattvas. Until the essence of enlightenment is reached, I go for refuge to the Buddhas. I take refuge in the Dharma and in all the host of Bodhisattvas. Until the essence of enlightenment is reached, I go for refuge to the Buddhas. I take refuge in the Dharma and in all the host of Bodhisattvas.
Thank you, Ame. Now, may we invite Rinpoche to give us his teaching. Rinpoche, please.
Okay, so right at the beginning, I'd like to express my rejoice for, being able to reach our target of 100 million Shakyamuni mantra.
所以一开始我要表达我的随喜，我们已经达到了我们要念1亿遍释迦牟尼佛心咒的目标。
Thank you for all the people who have really contributed on this, and also thank all the organizers, people who really worked hard for this.
要感谢所有为此提出贡献的人，以及所有非常辛勤工作的组织者、工作人员们。
Well, even though we have reached this target, I'm hoping that we will still continue.
虽然我们已经达到了这个目标，但是我希望我们还是能够继续的进行持诵。
As I have mentioned this in the past, I'm hoping that we will continue this till the last moment of this year and the beginning of the next year.
就像我过去提到的，我希望我们能够继续做这个持诵，直到今年的最后一刻，以及明年的初始的时刻。
So even though we are going to continue basically the same principle, we will also try to approach the Bhumipashta in a different level and from a different aspect, a slightly different aspect.
虽然我们还是会持续的进行这个持诵，但是现在我们要以不同的层次、不同的面向来去进这个触地计划。
Well, as many of you know, Bhumipashta is it's a name given to a gesture. Basically, it's a gesture.
你们很多人都知道，触地这个名字呢，是来自于一个手势、一个姿势。
Buddhists throughout the world remembers this gesture. Of course, this gesture is depicted in all the paintings and the statues and the frescoes, so you cannot really miss it.
当然，全世界的佛教徒都熟知这个手势，因为它在所有的绘画、雕塑、壁画当中都有所描绘。
But this very simple gesture also has a lot of profound elements behind.
但是这个简单的手势，事实上也蕴含了很多深奥的义理在其中。
even on the most mundane level, like right just beginning, a moment before Buddha was awakened, of all the things that he could touch, touching the earth is very significant.
在一个最世俗的层面上，可以这么说，在佛证悟的前一刻，有这么多东西他可以去触摸，但是他却决定去触摸这个大地，这其中有非常重大的含义。
On the most outer level, of course, the earth is where we are dwelling, this precious earth.
在最外的层次上来说，大地是非常珍贵的，它是我们所依所住之处。
Just imagine, this is the very earth where Buddha Dipamkara, even before the Shakyamuni Buddha walked upon.
大家可以试想一下，也正是在这个大地上，在释迦牟尼佛之前的燃灯佛是他行走之处。
And not just the Buddha, so many great beings have walked on this earth.
不只是佛，还有许许多多其他的伟大的圣者众生都曾经行走在这一片大地上。
They were all born on this earth. They died on this earth. They did a lot of things on this earth.
他们出生于在这片土地上，他们死于这片土地上，他们在这片大地上做了形形色色的各式各样的事情。
And right now, we are on this earth.
而现在我们在这片大地上。
And in a very peculiar way, we are connected to all these Buddhas and the great beings of the past because we basically use the same earth, this very earth.
正因为我们也正在使用这同样一片土地，所以以一种非常古怪的方式，我们和佛和过去这些伟大的圣众们取得了某种缘结。
But the Bhumipashra also signifies not just this earth, as in, the earth, the planet.
但是这个触地的地呢，不只是指这个我们讲的这个地球、这个星球、这个大地。
It signifies the truth.
它也代表了真理实相。
Nothing exotic or nothing mythical, just a simple, simple truth.
这不是什么神秘、很奇怪的东西，它就是非常简单的一个实相。
It signifies non-hypocrisy.
它代表着不虚伪、不伪善。
And it also signifies majesty.
它也象征着非常的威严庄严。
And many other things. Among them, it also signifies humility.
它还象征了很多其他的东西，其中包括了谦逊、谦卑。
As I spoke last time, if you heard during that rainy day, Bhumipasha also means touch base.
就像上次说的，假如大家还记得那个下大雨的那天说的话，触地它也象征着就是我们要回到基本。
Touch the ground, touch the base. We lose our base.
我们要触摸这个地面，回到我们的根本面。有时候我们失去了我们跟根本面的接触。
In the classic Buddhist teachings, there are so many teachings on how to touch this base. Like how to touch base with base. How to touch base. Of the Tathagata Garbha, the Buddha nature.
在古典的佛学教法当中，有非常非常多的教法是关于如何去接触这个根本面，或者说如何去触及这个如来藏，这个佛性。
But probably for a lot of us, those are too philosophical and maybe too complicated.
但是可能对我们很多人来说，那些都太过于抽象，太过于哲学性。
So today, I want you to understand this and understand the touch the base or the touch the earth in the most fundamental level.
所以今天我想要让大家了解的是这个触地，这个接触基本面，从一种最为根本的方式来了解。
It's really, it's actually to have relationship with oneself.
它其实讲的就是要和自己建立某种关联关系。
It's to really make friends with oneself.
是要和自己真正的交朋友。
To be not harsh towards self.
不要对自己苛刻。
To be not hard on ourselves.
不要对自己就是把自己弄得太难。
To not make enemy with oneself.
不要太挑剔自己，不要和自己成为敌人。
And also to not hate oneself.
而且也是不要去憎恨自己。
Now these are something that we human beings don't do. We forget to do these things.
刚刚讲的都是我们人类会忘记去做的事情，我们经常没有在做这些事情。
In the process, amidst all this, so-called, busyness in our life, we forget to make friends with oneself. We end up making enemy with oneself.
在这个所谓现代的忙碌生活当中，让我们忘记了和自己要交朋友，而是把自己变成了自己的敌人。
And we keep on being hard on oneself.
我们对自己百般的为难。
We keep on asking too much from ourselves.
我们不断的对自己有太多的要求。
Now, not hating oneself, not appreciating oneself, becoming friend with oneself does not mean that we want to become narcissist.
但是呢，不憎恨自己，欣赏自己，和自己交朋友，并不表示说我们就要变得非常的自恋。
We don't want to become, in the process of this, we don't want to also become vain. Vain.
vain， 拉手。在这个过程当中，我们也不希望自己会变得非常的虚荣。
We don't want to develop the habit of, self-righteousness.
我们不希望自己会养成一种自以为是、自认清高的一种习惯。
We don't want to be carried away by cherishing individual oneself, too much.
我们不希望自己因为太过珍惜自己而被此冲昏了头。
Appreciating oneself, loving oneself, becoming friend with oneself does not mean that we should forsake our responsibility.
和自己交朋友、欣赏自己、爱自己，并不表示我们就可以放下自己应该尽的责任。
Those things doesn't mean that we we step over other people's toes.
也不表示你就可以去侵占别人的地盘，让别人不爽。
So Bhumi Parsha, touching with base, touching earth, touching oneself. These are sort of
所以这个触地，接触大地，接触这个基本面，接触自己。
So in order to do that, we need to know oneself. We need to know ourselves.
为了做到这一点，你必须要了解你自己，了解你自己。
Now, when we say we need to know ourselves, I think, there are many different ways to know ourselves, by reading books, by studying about ourselves, by, there's loads and loads and loads and teachings on who we are and all of that. So many, too many.
关于如何了知自己，如何了解自己，有非常非常多的方式。你可以读书，你可以去学习关于自己的那些教学内容，有非常多的方式。实际上有太多的方式可以做了。
There's not only too many information about it, there's also a lot of technique of contemplating, like who we are.
不只是有很多的资讯，而且有非常多的技巧，像是那些如何去思维自己到底是谁的那些技巧。
But this time, maybe we will not, by all means, we should do all of that. But this time, I think we should concentrate on, simply touching the base without needing to read books or needing to inquire or ask questions, so on and so forth.
当然，刚刚讲的那些方法技巧都是你可以去做的，都也是你应该去做的。但是今天我们要专注的是在一个如何让自己能够接触这个基本面的一个非常简单的方式，是不需要你去读书，不需要你去询问、探寻那些问题的。
Maybe we don't need to ask questions like, who are we?
或许我们不需要问这个问题，我们是谁？
Who am I?
我是谁？
And maybe we should also stop using references. Just sometimes, just for this time.
也许我们也应该停止使用一些参照点，至少在现在这个时候。
There's many references. Different religions, such as Christians, will have their references. Buddhists will have their references and definitions and analysis.
有非常非常多不同的参照点，像是不同的宗教中，基督徒有他们自己参照的方式，佛教徒有我们自己的定义、自己的参照点，有我们自己的分析。
But maybe, this time we don't use any of these references, okay?
但是或许这次我们不会用那些种种的参照点。
So what do we have? We have our body, obviously.
那我们有什么呢？我们有我们的身体，这是很明显的。
And we have our speech.
我们有我们的语言讲话。
And then we have our mind.
然后我们也有我们的心。
Now, out of this body, speech, and mind, mind is the most important.
在身与意这三者当中，心意是最重要的。
See, when we say me, I, me, most likely you are referring to your body and maybe your speech and definitely your mind.
当我们讲到我这个词的时候，大部分时候是在讲我们的身体，有时候是在讲我们说的这个话，我们的语言，但是肯定是在指我们的心。
So the mind is the most important. Without the mind, who are we? We are nothing. We are like a table. We are like a pen. We are like a eraser.
要是没有心的话，我们就像是一个桌子，就像一支笔，就像一个橡皮擦一样，所以心是最重要的。
So this mind, and the mind you have.
而你有这颗心。
And this is the one thing that you have that you don't need to download or buy or, nothing. You just have it.
这是一个你不需要去下载、不需要去购买的东西，你已经拥有它了，你就是拥有它。
And this mind is what we need to touch.
这个心就是我们要接触的对象。
And when I say this mind is what you need to be touched, again, immediately, because of our habit, we immediately have this sort of urge to look for some special mind.
当我一说到这个要去接触自心的时候，因为我们的习性，我们可能马上就会想说要去找一个特别的心。
And I'm not talking about any kind of special mind.
而我不是在只讲任何特别的一种心。
Actually, this is another meaning of Bhumi Parsha. I was telling you, touching the base, touching the ground, down to earth. Remember?
事实上，这也是触地的另一层意义。记得之前说的吗？就是我们要接触基本面，我们要接触这个大地，我们要非常的脚踏实地的。
I think the English expression "down to earth" has this, sort of connotation of not altered, raw.
我想英文的这个 "down to earth" 就是这个非常实际的、脚踏实地的这个讲法呢，有一种含义是说它是没有经过任何改变的，是非常原始的。
Not altered, not made up, as it is, basically.
它不是经过任何改变，它不是你造作出来的，就只是如是它本来的原貌而已。
And the mind you have, as I'm repeating here, you have a mind. You are looking at me right now. You are listening to me right now. Who is doing this? This is your mind.
就像我一直在重复的，你已经有这颗心了。像你现在在看着我、听着我，是谁在做这些呢？就是你的心在做这些。
And sometimes and this mind, this naked, raw mind is what you need to touch.
而这个赤裸裸的、原始的心，就是你要去接触的对象。
Now, when I say touch, there's something so nice about the word touch. It's basically like this, isn't it? It's like this.
当我一讲触的时候，触基本上就像这样碰一下东西的那个感觉。
This means hold.
这个是去抓住一个东西。
Hold, right?
抓着不放。
Touch.
这是触摸。
So you must be thinking, anytime in your day, just notice whatever you are thinking.
所以在任何时间，在你一天当中的任何时间，只是要去觉知、注意到你正在想什么。
And it can be, whatever you are thinking can be sometimes very, very rugged.
不管你在想的是什么样的事情。
And this is something that you need to appreciate, this ruggedness.
即使你在想一些非常粗糙的东西，你也是必须要去欣赏你正在有的这个念头。
Don't look at something perfect mind, you understand, to touch. The imperfection of the mind, this rugged mind, the naked mind, the raw mind, just touch.
不要去寻求有什么样的完美的心是你要去触摸的，你要去触摸的就是这个不完美、这个赤裸的、这个原始的、这个粗糙的这个心。
Again, just pop up in my mind. Like the Japanese philosophy of wabi-sabi. If you know how to sort of, the Japanese, they can make something so rugged and something so imperfect, you know, they end up becoming so beautiful and, decorative.
我就突然想到这个日本的侘寂美学，那些日本人他们可以把非常不完美、非常粗简的东西变成非常美丽的东西。
Yeah, so likewise, have they, experience the, ruggedness, like touch your rugged mind and have a, momentary wabi-sabi experience.
同样的，就是你要去接触你这颗粗野的心，然后你去感受到那一刹那的那个侘寂的美丽。
That's it. That is the touch base, Bhumi Pasha.
那个就是我们说的触地，接触你的基本面。
This is so simple. You can't tell me you don't know how to do it.
就是这么的简单，你没有办法告诉我说你做不到这一点。
If you don't know how to do it, you must be a robot.
如果你不知道怎么做这件事情的话，那你肯定是个机器人。
This is something you can do it.
这是你可以做到的一件事。
And this is what you need to know. This is what you need to remember to do it.
而这是你需要知道的，也是你需要记得去做的。
But we as a human being, we are such a, victim of cause and conditions.
但是你们都知道，我们作为人类呢，我们完完全全是一个因缘的受害者。
So we get distracted, we get entangled.
所以我们会散乱，我们会陷入到种种的事情当中。
So in order to remember to do this, we should also learn how to create the atmosphere of this.
所以为了要让自己能够记得做这件事情呢，我们也需要学习怎么样去创造出一个氛围，让我们能够记得去做这件事情。
And that's what the Buddhists try to do, with their mind, they try to meditate. There's so many techniques of shamatha, vipassana, this, that, basically to really touch this ground.
所以基本上有种种样的教法和技巧，像是止观，这些都是基本上要让大家能够去接触这个基本的。
And also to really maintain this touching and to do it, to maintain the awareness, we also chant mantras such as what you have been doing. Did you hear that?
Sorry, Rinpoche, my internet is breaking off. Would you please repeat again?
Okay. In order to maintain in order to create the atmosphere, remember to touch, remember, just maintain that awareness. We also chant the mantra.
所以为了要能够去维持这种氛围，为了要去创造出这种觉知，所以我们也会持诵咒语。
And in order to maintain this awareness, we also build temples, statues, paintings. It's all just to, really, not forget touching the base.
为了要能够维系这种觉知，所以我们会去建造寺庙、建造佛像，或者是说壁画，这些都是为了不让我们去忘记我们要接触这个基本面，我们要触地。
Of course, as I said earlier, we have so much habit of getting distracted.
当然，就像之前说的，我们有这么多的习惯是要变得散乱。
We don't have this, I don't know, somehow we just dare not do the touching.
有时候不知道为什么我们就是不敢去做这个接触这件事情，
Many, many reasons.
有很多的原因，
Too boring,
太无聊了，
too ordinary,
太普通平凡了，
too uninteresting,
太不让人感兴趣了，
and also too scary.
还有也因为太让人害怕，
Being rugged, being naked, being totally, referenceless is so scary, you understand?
因为变得完全的粗糙，完全的赤裸，完全的没有参照点，也是让人畏惧的一件事情。
We like to entertain ourselves by hating ourselves.
我们喜欢以自我憎恨的方式来娱乐自己，
We like to entertain ourselves by, I don't know, being hard on ourselves, asking too much, you know.
我们喜欢以刁难自己、对自己要求很多的方式来娱乐自己。
So maybe I should switch on the light. Okay.
或许我应该把灯打开。
So there's a lot of obstacles also, like we have values.
另外还有很多其他的障碍，比如说我们有所谓的价值观，
And we have ideologies.
我们有很多的一些意识形态。
All these ideologies and values and emojis, emojis?
所有的这些意识形态、这些价值观，还有我们的这些表情符号，
all these emojis, we end up hijacking us from the base.
这些所有的表情符号呢，都让我们没有办法去接触这个基本面，
distract ourselves from the base.
都让我们变得散乱，异于栖离于这个基本面。
Then what happens? We lose our radiance.
那会发生什么情况呢？我们就会失去我们的光辉，
We lose our confidence.
我们就失去了我们的自信心。
And basically, we lose being cool.
基本上我们就变得很不酷。
Everybody wants to be cool, but if you don't touch the base, you are no more cool. You could be wearing Versace bags or I don't know, all kinds of things, but you are not cool.
大家都想要变酷，但是没有去接触这个基本面，就会让你变成不酷的人。即使你是带着 Versace 的名牌包做其他的事情，你也不会是酷的。
So I know we have finished the count, but we will still keep on chanting.
所以我知道我们已经完成了计数了，但是我们还是会继续的做持诵。
But probably I'm thinking we could, there has been a lot of our friends, especially from our young friends, creation of paintings and music, and is wonderful. And all one way or another, bringing the atmosphere of touching the base. And so this is something, let us now try to sort of, we like to touch base, of course, through mantras and the meditation or whatever the things that we do, but we would like to also touch base by creating things. So that's what That's what I'm hoping that people will do.
大家知道，我们有很多的朋友，特别是年轻一辈的人，他们创造出了各种的绘画、音乐等等的，非常美妙极了。那当然，我们会继续的要做这个持诵，可是也希望说，在这个更下一个层次上，我们也能够运用创造的这种形式，这是我希望大家能做的。
And it doesn't have to be anything so-called special. Remember, the moment you are looking for something special, you are asking too much to yourself.
而且这些创作这些东西呢，并不需要是多么特殊的东西，记得吗？你一开始想要寻找什么特别的东西的时候，你就已经失去了和这个触地的接触了。
You could just clean your table and take a photo of the clean table and send it to us. Perfect.
可以只是把你的桌子清理干净，然后照一张自己干净桌子的相送给我们，那个也是非常好的。
Or next, you can make a big mess out of your table and take a photo and send it to us. That's fine too.
或者你可以把自己的桌子弄得一塌糊涂，然后照张相送给我们，那也是可以的。
Basically, I think I've told you enough regarding what I think about touching base. Basically, that should be the spirit. That should be our principle. That should be our value.
我想我已经跟大家讲够了，我心里中的这个触地是什么样的意思。基本上刚以上讲的就是触地的精神，就是我们的价值观，就是我们的原则。
And yeah, of course, I think I've already said this. We will also still keep on chanting.
当然我已经说过了，我们也是会继续的去做持诵。
And one last thing, those who wish to also participate by becoming one of our organizer, help with our administration or whatever, not only it will be very helpful for us, but I think it will be also, what do you call it, fun, hopefully.
那最后要跟大家讲的就是说，有很多人都表达出了他们想要加入这个组织工作，想要帮助行政等等的事情，那都非常的好，因为这不只会帮到我们，我希望也会对你是一件非常有趣、有意思的事情。
And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much. And is there questions?
好，谢谢大家，就这样了。
Yanda, are there questions?
Hold on. Hi everyone. If you have questions, please feel free to PM the co-host, and we will then forward the question to Rinpoche. Yeah.
如果有人要提问的话，可以就是私信给那2位中文的工作人员。
Yeah, we will hold on for a while while our two co-hosts are tabulating the questions, or if there's any questions at all. Okay, Rinpoche, we do not have any questions, so that's it for today. Thank you so much for your time. Right, thank you everyone for coming today. So, Rinpoche, please take care, and we hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
谢谢大家，我们今天就到这里为止。